Hey guys, so we're back with the 350Z. Today we're going to be doing a knock sensor repair, swap over, and a air filter replacement. This air filter is getting a little bit old and raggedy, so we're just going to change it over with a new one. It's not the exact same size, but it's pretty close. And I got these two from eBay, got the recharge kit with the oil and the cleaner. I'm going to the aerosol. I just want to try it out and see which one I like best. And then we got the knock sensor here. It's a Goss knock sensor from Sparesbox. And I haven't done one of these before. I don't really know what I'm getting myself into, but I just know that it's deep under the plenum, so we're going to have fun getting there and hopefully learn along the way. So yeah, we're going to get into that. Alright guys, so we got the filter, recharge kit and the knock sensor. Here's what they look like. So the knock sensor is just a small little, I think it's a magnet that just detects misfires of some sort. I don't really know how they work. So that's what that looks like. That was about $100, maybe a little bit over from memory. You got your degreaser bottle and the aerosol tin. Haven't used this one before. I'm keen to see how it works compared to the bottle of oil that you just sort of drip over it. Here's the filter, big sucker, 5-inch intake. Yeah, just your standard K&N filter. So we're going to give this a spray up first and let it sit before I put it in the car, and then we'll get onto the knock sensor while this is sort of soaking in. Alright guys, so we're going to start by taking off this strut bar, and we'll move to the air intake, work our way around the plenum, disconnecting all your hoses and this little bracket back here. Then we'll move to the plenum, take off the upper plenum, move to the second, take off the lower plenum, then you got all your fuel rails and stuff under there. Also want to disconnect your battery. Alright, so now we're going to move on to this intake pipe. I'm going to start with the MAF and then just sort of work my way up. So now we're going to work our way around, undoing them all, and we're just going to leave them sit where they stay and just leave it like that so that we know where they're going back. Alright, so now we're going to go through, pull up these guys, make our way around, pulling up all the other bolts that are attached to the outside of it, just make our way around and pick up this plenum. Alright guys, so we've taken off the upper and lower plenum, and we're now down to the fuel rails. I'll give you guys a bit of a look in there. So this is where we're up to. I'm going to take these fuel rails off, then get to the lower plenum, and then under that, or I don't even think this is the lower plenum, I think that's the intake manifold. So after that, the knock sensor is in under there. So we'll get a look after I take this off. Alright, so I'm going to make my way along these plugs, and they're all numbered. They've all got their own length, so you can't really confuse them and mismatch them, so I'm not too fussed in pulling them off. And then you got 2 bolts on each fuel rail, and pull them up. Alright guys, so I just ran and grabbed some tape. I'm a little bit nervous about dropping something down my intake manifold, so I've just got some painter's masking tape. Just going to chuck it over the top. There we go. Safe and sound. Can't drop anything down there now, which is a relief. It's a bit scary looking down into the abyss. Alright guys, so now we're down to the intake manifold. We've got 4 bolts up each side. And we're just going to take those out, and then we should be able to see the knock sensor. Alright guys, so we got all the intakes taped off, and I'll show you that there. This guy right here is the knock sensor. This is the guy we've been chasing this whole time. Running around in circles, taking stuff off all the way down just to get to this bastard. So now that we're here, you can see all this all these leaves and stuff that I'm not really sure how they've gotten there. Kind of surprised that they haven't lit up, seeing as how hot this engine gets, but I'm going to pull these out, go chuck them outside where they belong. Alright, so I'll get you guys a closer look at this. That's all the crap down there. I hope you can see that pretty well. You know, just little bits of plastic and leaf litter. And here's my sensor that I think something is eaten. Alright guys, so we're going to get in there with the vacuum cleaner and suck up all that leaf litter, and then we'll get into sorting out the wiring. Alright guys, so I've just got the newest evidence in. I'm going to try and catch it on camera for you guys. So, this guy right here, it's going to be hard to see because it's real tight space. Right in this little bank there is some little bits of rat poopy. So we finally found out which bastard was the cause of this, and I think it was some sort of rodent, mouse, rat, something small enough to get in here, so I'd probably say a mouse. Yeah. Just so you know, next mod on this car is going to be a mouse trap in the intake manifold. Stay tuned for that one, guys. Alright guys, so a little bit of a bummer. When I pulled out the harness to the knock sensor, it had been eaten by rats, which is why we were replacing it. But when I pulled it out, I noticed that it wasn't really something that I could fix due to the way that the wires joined together. They started as 2, and then the wire wrapped around the outside of the other, sort of wrapped its way around, and then they became 1. And that's not really something that I could fix, so I was going to cut them and then splice in 2 wires the whole way through. And then when I pulled out the old connectors, they just sort of fell apart. They were that old and had that much heat damage that they just sort of crumbled. So I went online, shopped around, and I found a rat-proof harness. So I mustn't be the first one to have this happen to them if someone's making these. But we're just going to replace the sub harness from the knock sensor to the full-size harness, and then put the new knock sensor in with it. I'll put the link for this in the description. If you're considering replacing your knock sensor, I'd probably buy one of these as well. Alright guys, so there's the knock sensor in there, plugged in, routed out to the back. Now we just got to put everything back in over the top. Alright guys, so it's all put back together again. I double checked, triple checked that everything was hooked up right, and I think we're good. One thing to remind you guys is that if you do touch that throttle body, you'll need to do a throttle body reset, or I forgot what the word was, but it's within the computer. You need to let it know where idle is again, because you've changed it. So I'll leave a video in the description. I won't tell you how to do it because there's a bloke that's made a really good video on it, and I think he deserves some extra views. It was really easy, straightforward, and you know, fix the problem. So I'll leave that in the description. Go check it out. There's the new sensor down there. You can only just see him. And there's the polished intake. Go check out my last video if you haven't seen it already. If you wanted to spruce up your Z, that's what it looks like. Pretty awesome. Definitely worth it if you got the time. Alrighty guys, so I did lose just a little bit of footage on this sadly, so you didn't get to see me putting in or taking out the sub harness, but it was pretty easy. You just sort of unbolt it, follow the cables back to the back side of the engine, and you can undo the harness off the, I think it's attached to one of the water pipes, and then you can just fit the new one. And I also lost me putting the plenum and stuff back on, but it's just the same as taking it off, but you're putting it back on. So if you guys thought this video was good value or it helped you, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.